That's too bad. I'll give you as much money as you want. Poor thing. Isn't the president his wife? I am Alison. I've been married to my husband, John, for 2 years now. We both work and are so busy that we hardly have time to talk except on weekends. However, we get along well as a couple and go on an overseas trip with my husband once a year. When we got married, we decided to build a new house and splurged on a mansion. I'm satisfied with our current life. I have a close friend named Madison from high school, and we occasionally go out for lunch together. Madison has high ideals for men and hasn't married yet, but she strongly desires to. Especially, she seems uncompromising about high annual income, and she's always looking for such a partner. Hey, can I come over to your house next time? Currently, I'm having lunch with my best friend, Madison, after a long time. We were both busy and rarely met, communicating occasionally by phone or email, but today our schedules matched. Madison and I have been close friends since high school and have consulted each other on various matters. Looking back, both the fun times and tough times are now fond memories. I married my current husband 2 years ago, and as I got busier at work, the time I could spend with Madison decreased. My husband generally has weekends off, but due to the nature of his sales job, working on holidays isn't uncommon depending on client schedules. He's also busy with work. While I was pondering how to spend my day off alone, Madison contacted me, so we were to meet up today. Sure, my house is close to here, so how about having tea at my place after this? Really? Can I? I'd love to. After getting married, my husband and I built a house, but I usually met Madison outside, so this would be the first time to invite her over. Having decided to go to my house, we finished lunch and headed home. As soon as we arrived, Madison was astonished. Wow, it's such a mansion. Amazing. When we built the house, we thought of it as a once-in-a-lifetime purchase and didn't compromise, resulting in a house larger than an average family's. It's still newly built, so the interior is clean, and Madison seemed to like it so much. We splurged a bit when building it. It's our long-awaited house, you know. It's spacious and beautiful. Did it cost a lot? It was a big purchase, but it's our home. It cost around $660,000. $660,000. Is your husband's annual salary that high? Madison has always had high standards for men, and she often said that she couldn't compromise on annual income. I think her question came from that perspective. My husband's salary, I guess it's on the higher side for his age. I tried to answer vaguely, not giving specific numbers. I see. Now, I think that her enigmatic response at that time was a warning sign. Unaware of Madison's smirk behind me, I proceeded to prepare tea in the living room. Hey, since I'm here, I'd love to greet your husband. Can I stay tonight? With a teacup in hand, Madison asked with a smile. I saw no reason to decline, so I readily agreed. Yay! Ho, where's the restroom? Over here. I showed Madison to the restroom and waited for her in the living room. In the meantime, I sent an email to my husband letting him know that Madison was here and suggesting we have dinner together. After a while, Madison returned with a bag in her hand, and upon closer inspection, it was my bag. Huh? That's my bag. Oh, I got lost when I came out of the bathroom, so I took a little tour around your house. Then I found this. Isn't this designer's super expensive? Can I borrow it for a while, please? It wasn't far enough from the bathroom to the living room to get lost. It might have made sense she wanted to look around the house, but the bag Madison had was supposed to be in my bedroom. The thought of someone entering my bedroom without permission made me uncomfortable. However, I didn't think it was so much of a big deal, so I reluctantly agreed to lend her the bag. Okay, but make sure to give it back. It's a gift from my husband. Of course, I got it. A little later, I went to the bathroom and checked my bedroom on the way. Nothing seemed to be ransacked, but my closet appeared to have been opened, and bags and shoes were slightly scattered. I decided to give Madison a gentle warning and returned to the living room. Madison, you went into my bedroom, didn't you? It seems you also entered the closet. I'd like you to refrain from that. Looking into Madison's eyes, I thought I saw her eyebrows twitch for a moment. I guess, I'm sorry, I won't do it again. Thanks. While we were having this conversation, my husband returned home. I had previously told him about Madison's visit, so perhaps out of consideration, he brought back a cake. I'm home. Welcome back. Oh, thanks for the cake. This is my friend, Madison. I told you in the email, but do you want to have dinner with us today? Nice to meet you, Madison. Allison always talks about you. Of course, let's eat together. Nice to meet you. Sorry I couldn't attend your wedding, but I'm glad to meet you now. Madison couldn't attend our wedding because she was sick, so this was the first time she met my husband. Afterward, we ate dinner together, and later we enjoyed the cake John had brought with some tea. Thanks to Madison's friendly nature, she quickly hit it off with John, and we all had a good time. About a month later, I noticed a change in my husband's behavior. He would avoid my gaze and spend more time on his smartphone. His behavior was so stereotypically suspicious that I could only view him with doubt. Our conversations decreased, and every day like that continued for a while. One day, I returned home to find a divorce application on the table. I immediately called my husband. I just got home and saw the table. What's going on? It means exactly what you think. I want a divorce. I knew something was off with you, but tell me the reason. I've fallen in love with someone else. So, you've been cheating. No, this isn't an affair. I genuinely fell in love. It might look like cheating from your perspective. It's cheating, no matter how you look at it. Does the other person know you're married? Yes, well. John hesitated, just as I thought we should meet and discuss this face to face. Hello, Allison, it's me. I recognized the voice that replaced my husband's. Madison. Yes, it's me, Madison. I'm dating John, and I'm thinking of marrying him. The moment I heard those words, I felt as if a heavy stone had fallen onto my heart. My heart raced, and I was overwhelmed with an unbearable feeling as if something was suffocating my throat. What do you mean? Marrying John is my husband, isn't he? I fell in love with John the moment I saw him at your house. We exchanged contact information and kept in touch. And then, gradually, our relationship became that. What do you mean by that? What are you thinking? I was overwhelmed with a mixture of anger, emptiness, and sadness, unable to voice my accusations properly. I do feel bad about it, you know, but it can't be helped. We were destined to be together, and thanks to you, we met. I'm grateful for that. Even though Madison claimed to feel bad, there wasn't a hint of remorse in her voice. On the contrary, she sounded defiant. I couldn't possibly forgive this betrayal from a friend I had been close to since our student days and from my husband. You don't feel bad at all. Put John on the phone. John said he doesn't want to talk anymore. Can you just submit the divorce papers soon? We need to have a proper conversation. I just won't accept this. Tell John to come home. Oh, come on, that's not happening. He's already living with me. There's nothing left to discuss, right? All you need to do is submit the divorce papers. Whether she was trying to provoke me or held a grudge against me, all I felt toward Madison's nonchalant response was distrust and frustration. Just put my husband on the phone. Despite my finely raised voice, Madison remained unfazed, mocking me with a snort. Hilarious, no matter what you say, it won't change anything, bye now. Holding the phone that was abruptly hung up, I stood in shock for a while. The sleepless nights continued, and during that time, my husband never returned. The divorce papers placed on the living room table seemed to be waiting to be submitted. Madison, for whatever reason, kept sending me pictures of her and my husband together. Was she trying to show off their intimate relationship? The anguish was unbearable, and it began to affect my work. I decided it was time to seriously consider divorce, and consulted a lawyer. I knew a lawyer and decided to consult with him. I promptly made an appointment and explained the situation to the lawyer. He listened intently to my worn-out story, expressing sympathy. What would you like to do? The moment the lawyer posed that question, I realized my answer was ready and clear. I want a divorce, but I want them to face the consequences. That's understandable. We will demand compensation for damages. With all the evidence they've so carelessly provided, we must use it to our advantage. Yes, I'll firmly demand compensation for damages from both John and Madison, and I'll end this once and for all. Thank you for your help. Leave it to me, and while this might be unnecessary advice, please make sure you eat properly and get enough rest. Your health is important. Thank you, sir. After my conversation with the lawyer, I decided to put things in order. Time is said to be the best medicine, and I am gradually regaining my ability to look ahead. Recently, I've managed to eat properly, something I hadn't done in a while, and my sleep has also improved. The only thing I've lost is my husband. There's nothing else to lose and nothing to worry about. Having gone through this, I believe something better waits. Such farts gave me strength. Then, a few days later, Madison contacted me. Hey, are you still clinging to the past? I want you to divorce him soon. Your audacity astonishes me. What's wrong with you? I'm preparing for the divorce, so let John know. Huh, you're lying, aren't you? Do you think John is coming back to you? I know what you're clinging to. It's his income, isn't it? What? His income? Yeah, he's the CEO of a company with an annual turnover of $300 million. You hid that from me, didn't you? You knew I'd take him from you once I found out, right? John is the CEO of a company with an annual turnover of $300 million. You can't tell me you didn't know, right? That's why he could afford that luxurious house. Did John tell you that? Exactly. He told me everything. So, hurry up and get a divorce. Leave that house, will you? It's going to be mine soon anyway. It's a shame that John didn't come back. I'll give you as much financial support as you want, you poor thing. Madison said all this in a one-sided manner, and then hung up the phone. I now understood why Madison was targeting my husband, and everything made sense. This phone call from Madison completely cooled my feelings toward my husband, and I started thinking about life after divorce. From the next day on, I felt refreshed as if a weight had been lifted off my shoulders. in a way, it was thanks to Madison. The couple's photos she sent today just gross me out now. I've shared everything she sent with the lawyer. As I recovered, I was able to get back on track with my work, and my normal daily life finally returned. Now, all that's left is to settle things with my husband and Madison. I've sent a letter of demand on your behalf to Madison and John. Now, we just wait for their response. The response came back just a few days later. Hey, what were you thinking sending a letter of demand to my workplace? Madison was outraged, her angry voice resonating. So, you were harassing me without being prepared for the consequences. I was just sharing John's happiness with you. It's not harassment at all. No, it's definitely harassment. Oh, and from now on, please talk to my representative. Goodbye. Wait, I cut off the call right there. I could tell she was significantly shaken up, which gave me a sense of relief. Madison tried to call back immediately, but I did not answer. My husband, like Madison, tried to call, but when he realized I wasn't answering, he started complaining via email. He complained that my parents had found out about the affair because the letter of demand was sent to his parents' house, and he was being blamed. He demanded that I lie and tell them it wasn't true. His email was filled with selfish complaints, ignoring his own faults. My disdain for my husband grew even stronger. After returning home, having dinner, and taking a bath, I headed to my bedroom and felt something was off. When I opened the closet, I noticed that some of my bags and accessories were missing, especially the designer's ones. There was only one suspect that came to mind. You've got to be kidding. Did she really steal from me? I immediately informed the lawyer, who advised that pursuing the matter would require evidence. As I pondered over it, I remembered installing security cameras as a precaution when the house was built. I rarely used them, so I'd forgotten about them. When I checked one of the recordings, everything was captured clearly. I decided to review all the surveillance footage around the house. To my astonishment, I saw Madison, over several days and in my absence, sneakily stealing the designer's items. I was horrified. The thought of having been friends with such a person was not only shocking but terrifying. The next day, I took the footage to the lawyer, who was equally stunned. She's audacious in a way, brazenly stealing from someone's house. This is substantial evidence. However, this is a separate case from the divorce. It's a crime. Is that okay? Yes, please proceed thoroughly, lawyer. I responded with a smile that even I found eerily calm. Why should I hold back? She must take full responsibility for her actions. Understood. However, I recommend changing the locks to your house. I agreed with the lawyer's advice and immediately had the locks changed. I subsequently received countless calls from both John and Madison, but I ignored them all. They even showed up at my house, but without hesitation, I called the police. After that, they stopped contacting me. A few days later, the lawyer informed me that the other party wanted to negotiate a settlement. When asked about my stance, I agreed to discuss, but only in the presence of the lawyer. I didn't have the time to drag this out indefinitely and wanted to resolve the issue quickly. The lawyer coordinated a meeting, and we decided to discuss matters at his office on the appointed day. And then, the day arrived. The door to the room flung open, and Madison and John stormed in. Finally, I get to see you, you coward. Stop it, Madison. Why, she's been running away, right? Because of her, our wedding keeps getting postponed, doesn't it? Madison was furious, almost on the verge of throwing something at me just by the look on my face. John desperately tried to restrain her beside him. Seeing the two of them after so long made me wonder why I was fighting against such people, making me feel somewhat pitiful. Please calm down. If I witness any violence or abusive language, I will immediately call the police. Understood? The lawyer managed to defuse the situation for the moment, and John and Madison finally took their seats. With everyone present, the discussion officially began. Sir, you want a divorce, correct? We consent to the divorce. However, since Allison suffered from mental distress by your act, we will claim compensation for damages. Any objections? If you grant the divorce, I don't care about anything else, but once you've taken the compensation for damages, we're cutting all ties with her. Ma'am, is that acceptable? Absolutely. I have no intention of maintaining any connection either. I spoke calmly, which seemed to shake John slightly. However, I no longer cared about such things. Moving on to the compensation for damages amount. As the lawyer tried to address the compensation for damages sum, Madison interrupted him. Didn't I say any amount is fine? We have a vast amount of money after all. Ha ha ga. Madison confidently stated, folding her arms. Hearing this, the lawyer swiftly adjusted his glasses. Oh, a vast amount of money, you say? Yes. Ho ha ga, aren't you a lawyer? Haven't you done your research? Listen, John here is the CEO of a company with an annual turnover of $300 million. The compensation is pocket change for us. We'll even generously provide asset division. Ha ha ga. You're probably just getting by on your salary, aren't you? As Madison proudly chuckled while making her statement, the lawyer, upon hearing it, couldn't hold back his laughter and burst out laughing and loud. Madison's face turned sour at the sight. What's so funny? Are you mocking me? Madison, visibly shaken, addressed the lawyer, who eventually calmed down, wiping away his tears with a handkerchief. Hada, my apologies, I see now, everything makes sense. The lawyer placed his handkerchief down and looked at Madison with a smirk. The CEO is Allison, John's just an ordinary employee there. What? Madison looked puzzled at the lawyer's statement, folding her arms and scoffing. The fool hires a foolish lawyer. Try seeing the reality for once. Did Allison lie to you saying she was the CEO? How pitiful. Actually, that would be you. Are you certain about what you claim to be true? As the lawyer turned toward John, he looked pale. Seeing this, Madison grew anxious and started interrogating her husband. Wait, you did say you're the CEO of a company with a $300 million turnover, right? You weren't lying, right? John didn't respond. He just hung his head, looking more and more pale. Madison too started to turn pale at his reaction. Answer me, you weren't lying, right? You said you're the CEO of a company with a $300 million turnover. Answer me. Madison shook John by the shoulders, to which he finally muttered a single word. Sorry. John's apology drove Madison into despair. Madison, trembling, turned toward us and slammed the table as she stood up. You've got to be kidding me. There's no way you're the CEO. I've been the closest to you, so there's no way I wouldn't know. Madison, taking her eyes off her downcast husband, stands up and confronts me, so I decide to reveal the truth. Just because we're best friends doesn't mean I tell you everything, especially about my annual income. And because I was so close to you, I knew how greedy you were about money. That's why I never intended to tell you." I looked straight into Madison's eyes without averting my gaze. Madison, unable to hide her shock, slumped down into her seat. "Then, that house is. Of course, it's registered under my name. So the one who should leave is John. Well, he's no longer my husband." At that statement, Madison fell silent. "In that case, we will be claiming a reasonable amount of compensation for damages." Not sure if Madison and John heard the lawyer's words, but both of them remained silent. Next, about the theft. The lawyer continued calmly, watching the two of them. His brisk way of talking soothed my heart. Upon hearing the word theft, both finally lifted their heads. "Theft. Yes, you entered the house while Allison was away, and stole several designer's items, didn't you?" Confronted with the theft, Madison bit her lower lip. John seemed to be unaware of this matter, and he looked surprised. "Wait, what's this about theft? It wasn't me. I don't know anything about it." Madison appeared to feign ignorance, but the lawyer then presented photos from the evidence footage. The two were at a loss for words upon seeing them. "What's this?" It's footage from the surveillance camera." Surveillance camera. It seems Madison hadn't heard about the surveillance camera from her husband. Well, if she had known, she probably wouldn't have brazenly committed the theft. John covered his face with his hands and let out a sigh. "We have a surveillance camera. We installed it for security because we turned the house into a mansion." "Why didn't you tell me sooner? I never thought you'd break in, and you stole my keys too, right? I thought I had just lost them. But I wanted those designer's items. You wouldn't buy them for me." And so, the two started quarreling. Both the lawyer and I let out exasperated sighs. "Please save your arguments for later." Continuing, "We plan to report this theft to the police, that's all." Upon hearing the word police, Madison began to visibly panic. "Calling the police is an overreaction. I just borrowed from a friend, right? You're not really going to file a report, are you? I never said you could borrow, and I don't consider you a friend anymore. I'm definitely reporting it. After all, it was stolen. Please, I'll compensate, just don't call the police." You'll compensate. The total designer's items you stole are worth over 4 digits. Are you sure? And there's also compensation for damages for the emotional distress. Upon hearing this, Madison seemed to think she could be absolved from her crime, and turned to her husband. "Hey, even if you're not a CEO, you're still working, right? You can pay, right?" At Madison's words, John just hung his head in silence. He's not capable of paying. After all, he kept being absent without taking leaves, and got fired. "What? I told you he works at my company, right? Since he started having an affair with you, I've received reports that he's been missing work without notice. Why would I keep such an employee? No way. But there's property division. If I have that, you can't rely on that property division." "Why not? Savings accumulated during our marriage should be part of the property division, right? Are you really a lawyer if you don't even know that? On the contrary, didn't you hear anything from John? He said he told you everything, yet you seem to have missed the crucial part. How convenient for you." The lawyer then promptly presented a document. As a prenuptial agreement, both parties have agreed not to seek property division if the marriage duration is less than 3 years. As you've been married for only 2 years, this agreement applies. Madison grabbed the document, crumpling it in her hands, trembling violently. "What's this piece of paper supposed to mean? That's a notarized document. It has legal force, but remember, just because there's no property division, it doesn't mean John's assets are gone. Hearing this, Madison's face contorted into a forced smile. Well, if that's the case, it's fine. John, you have savings, right? So we're okay, right? Madison's face, now full of desperation, was unrecognizable from the friend I once knew. There's none left. You kept spending it. There are no savings. Madison sank to the floor upon hearing her husband's words. Despite seeing her in such a state, I couldn't feel any sympathy. She had brought this upon herself. That concludes our discussion. Please promptly submit the divorce papers, and John, please gather your belongings and leave the house. Goodbye. It was unclear if Madison and John heard the lawyer's statement, but the lawyer and I left the room, leaving the two of them collapsed on the floor. I later returned home, leaving the proceedings to the lawyer. The divorce was finalized without any hitches. With the lawyer present, my ex-husband packed his belongings and left. I received a few desperate messages from him afterward, but I completely blocked him. I cut all ties with both my ex-husband and Madison. My ex-husband, having lost his job and savings, seemed to have moved into Madison's house. However, Madison, after being interrogated for theft, also lost her job. The two of them desperately searched for work, but all they could find were day-wage part-time jobs. Although they received their wages daily, Madison, not being good at saving, couldn't stop her extravagant spending, and ended up defaulting on rent, which eventually led to their eviction. Their families learned about their situation, and both were disowned. Unable to return to their parents' homes, they continue to work part-time, pay compensation, and now live in a run-down apartment without a bath and with a shared toilet. An old classmate lives in their neighborhood and occasionally spots them at nearby public bathhouse. I heard they both look unrecognizable, with worn-out clothes and disheveled hair. As for me, my career is going well, and I've taken up tennis as a new hobby by joining a community club. I enjoy staying active and investing in self-improvement. About 6 months after the incident, I went on a solo trip abroad where I met a wonderful man. We're currently dating. Although I can't easily forget about what happened, thinking that this past led to my current self makes me believe that I made the right choice. It might be the reason I feel so happy now.
We just don't mesh well, so let's get a divorce. You raised a kid on your own. It had been a long time since I was happy with Tom's words, so I responded with an unexpected smile. Got it. Here, the divorce papers. Seeing the divorce papers, Tom's eyes widened. I think Tom was shocked that I had the papers ready, but it's proof that I was thinking the same thing. Getting him to bring up the divorce was convenient for me. I won't miss this opportunity. If he regrets it after the divorce, that's on him. Given the circumstances, I won't forgive him no matter what he says. I hope he falls to the very bottom. Otherwise, all my hardships won't be rewarded. I smiled gently at Tom. My name is Emily Duff. At 28, I'm doing my best as a full-time housewife. I got married 3 years ago. My husband, Tom, runs an IT-related company, and he seems to be quite prominent in that field. However, I'm not familiar with the IT industry, so I don't really know the details. But my elder sister, Catherine, is a system engineer and is well versed in the IT world. So I asked her about Tom, Tom, he's quite a figure of attention in the industry. I see. So he really is something. I felt proud even though it wasn't about me. Tom's work is busy, and there are times during peak seasons when he doesn't come home for days. But that's because he's working hard for me. So I do my best with household chores for Tom's sake. I believe that helping each other out benefits both of us. However, lately, I've been questioning if we're truly supporting each other. When I see Tom's attitude towards me, I especially feel that way. I met Tom 4 years ago. At that time, I was working at an electronics retail store. I've always loved movies, and I insisted on watching them in high quality even at home. Which brand's device is the best? How much should I spend on a device? As I continued wanting to use the best products, I became obsessed with electronics. And that's how I ended up working at the electronics retail store. On the other hand, Tom was a customer at the store where I worked. Tom, when he came to the store, asked me this: "Where can I find the cheapest SSD? I'll guide you to the section." That was our first encounter. As I continued talking to Tom during his visits as a customer, we began to meet privately as well. It eventually turned into a relationship, and before long, we decided to get married. However, looking back now, I feel like our perspectives were off from the very beginning of our marriage. We already have a vacuum cleaner. Why did you buy a rubber vacuum cleaner? Well, it cleans even the tightest corners, and it gives me time to do other things. Huh? You're a full-time housewife. Don't think about cutting corners in housework, Tom said loudly. I had no intention of cutting corners. I just wanted to use my time efficiently. Vacuuming a not-so-dirty floor feels like a waste of time to me. It's better to leave it to the rubber vacuum and use that time for laundry or tidying up. In the end, Tom didn't understand my way of thinking. Do you see me as just a housemaid? I had a hunch he might think that way, but that might have been Tom's true feelings. Slowly, doubts about Tom began to grow inside me. Lately, instead of helping each other, it feels like I'm just being used. There might be a gap in our ideal image of a couple supporting each other. That's how I began to feel. Then, one day, I got a call from my childhood friend, Karen. I hadn't met her properly since we graduated from high school. So I decided to meet Karen after such a long time. And then Karen started talking about something. Can you teach me how to clean the air conditioner? According to Karen, the air conditioner at her home had started acting up. It didn't seem like a malfunction, so she wanted to start with cleaning it. Leave it to me. I'm knowledgeable about appliances. Using my expertise from my time working at the electronics store, I decided to teach Karen how to clean her air conditioner. We ended up cleaning her air conditioner together and got caught up in a conversation. By the time I realized, it was already dark outside. Oh no, I need to go home. Oh, sorry for keeping you so late. No worries, see you later. I hurriedly headed home. When I reached my apartment building, I bumped into Tom. Where were you? Tom gave me a suspicious look. I was at a friend's place. It's fine to meet friends, but you've been doing your chores, right? Of course I have. Annoyed, I quickly boarded the elevator. Tom followed immediately. Maybe a bit tipsy, he approached with unsteady steps. Instinctively, I reached out to support him. You're drunk at this hour? I had a dinner with work associates, and it just turned into drinking. Even so, I stopped mid-sentence. What's the matter? Nothing, never mind. I smiled and shook my head side to side. Yeah, Tom seemed to sense something off about my demeanor. If you have something to say, just be clear about it. Yeah, it's just... I smelled some perfume on you. Gathering my courage, I answered him like that. When I had helped Tom earlier, I noticed the scent of perfume from him. And it was a scent I recognized. A woman's perfume, used by someone close to me. As I hesitated whether to bring it up, Tom smirked and started patting my head before speaking. Are you worried I'm cheating on you? It's not like that. I didn't want to admit I was jealous, but Tom seemed to see right through it. Your sister was with me. As I thought, I glanced at Tom and he replied with a light chuckle. It's not like I'm cheating or anything. We just happened to work together. Really? Yeah, since we were working together, I took the opportunity to discuss something about you with her. His unexpected words made my heart skip a bit. Unlike me, Tom continued with a calm expression. We've been so busy that we didn't even have a wedding ceremony. I wanted to do something for you. Something like what? I'm grateful to you, you know. How about we go on a trip sometime soon? Tom suggested as if he just thought of it. Yes, I'd love to go on a trip. Then it settled. Tom began noting it down on his smartphone. So he was really considering my feelings. But was it truly just work? If it was just work, there would be no need for her scent to linger on him for that long. My sister had known about Tom right from the start. She mentioned he was the talk of the industry, but maybe she was just the one keeping an eye on him. Even when Tom came over for our marriage talk, the two of them seemed overly familiar with each other. Above all, if he wanted to do something for me, he could have just asked me directly. Unspeakable words swirled inside my heart. Maybe it was really an affair after all. What if Tom was cheating on me with my sister? That thought was all that came to mind. I only have a high school diploma. And since I'm a stay-at-home wife, I don't have a job either. If he divorces me in this situation, could I really make ends meet? An indistinct fear began to creep in. That's right, I should be prepared for the worst-case scenario. This became a catalyst, solidifying a particular reserve within me. About half a year passed, and one morning I woke up and rushed to the bathroom. Tom's eyes widened in surprise at my sudden movement. What's wrong? Did you eat something weird? Maybe, all cold. It was all I could manage to say. I couldn't easily get out of the bathroom. It's not like I'm particularly frail. However, getting sick once a year seemed normal for me. Maybe I've accumulated a lot of fatigue. I think I'll stay quiet today. With that thought, I tried to return to the bed. Just then, Tom, who was in the living room, raised his voice. Where do you think you're going? Sorry, I'm not feeling well, so I'll rest today. What? Then what about my meal? Isn't preparing meals your job? Tom, clearly irritated, questioned me like an inquisition. I was too weak to argue now. Leaning against the wall, I replied, Sorry, eat outside. Saying just that, I ignored Tom and returned to the bed. Oh no, I should go to the hospital later. With that thought, I quietly closed my eyes. A few hours passed, and I was finally able to get up. It was just past 1 p.m. Tom was nowhere to be found in the house. I took a taxi to the hospital. I still wasn't feeling well. When I get home, I'll lie down again. I thought about that constantly. Eventually, I arrived at the hospital and was examined. As a result, I found out I was pregnant. The moment I heard the news, I suddenly felt lighter. I joyfully headed home, wondering how Tom would react to the news. Grinning to myself, I waited for Tom's return. Eventually, Tom came home. I confronted him in the living room and told him about the pregnancy. However, Tom just said, "Oh, so that's why you weren't feeling well?" Was he not happy about it? I was completely taken aback. But from that day on, something changed. Tom became colder than ever before. He ignored me when I spoke to him. He blatantly came home late, and whenever our eyes met, he only had complaints for me. This isn't about the baby. I'm certain he's having an affair. I was convinced of it. If that's the case, I need to prepare for the eventuality of divorce. I quickly took action. Months flew by in the blink of an eye, and I was now 7 months pregnant. My belly's grown quite a bit, and it's becoming a challenge to even put on socks these days. Gently rubbing my significantly enlarged stomach, I slowly took a seat on the living room couch. Tom approached me. "Can we talk? There's something I want to discuss." "Talk? Make it quick, I'm busy," I replied indifferently. My affection for Tom had all but vanished. Tom had also become more distant, no longer expressing words of care or concern for me. "I've been thinking about this for a while. We're just not compatible." "Huh? We're not?" "Our personalities just don't mesh. We should get a divorce. Raise the kid on your own," Tom said bluntly. However, it was the content of his words that excited me more than the way he said it. I wanted to get divorced too. It had been a long time since I was genuinely happy about something Tom had said. So I found myself responding with a smile. "Understood. Here's the divorce paper." I pulled the divorce paper from my pocket and handed it to Tom. My name was already filled in. Tom's eyes widened at the sight of the document. I think he was surprised that I had the divorce paper ready. But it proved that I felt the same way. It's very convenient for me that Tom brought up the divorce. I'm definitely not missing out on this opportunity. I can always regret it after we are divorced. From this point on, I will never forgive him no matter what he says. I hope he falls hard and reaches rock bottom. Otherwise, my struggles would be in vain. I gave Tom a slight smile. Suddenly, his expression turned gloomy. "Why do you have a divorce paper ready?" "Huh? Well..." I wondered if I should tell him the truth. As I hesitated, Tom raised his voice. "You've been cheating on me, haven't you?" "Huh? Cheating?" I wanted to retort, saying that it was him doing so. However, cutting me off, Tom raised his voice further. "You plan to divorce me and be with the one you cheated on me with." "That's not true." "Enough. I was thinking of parting amicably. But now I'll demand for you to give me all your property." How audacious can he be? I'm disappointed to think I married a man like this. As I sighed deliberately, Tom's voice became even louder. "Who is he? I'll demand for that guy to give me his assets too." I said that's not the case. "How can I believe you?" He snorted and turned away, behaving just like a child. Despite my astonishment, I tried to calmly reason with Tom. How about we both undergo a private investigation? That way you'll see that I'm innocent, right? Hold on. What do you mean by both? Well, you're suspecting me, right? I also don't trust you. I exaggeratedly shook my head. Then, with a threatening tone, I continued. You brought up divorce because you're cheating. That's what I think. That's not true. Tom denied it. But there was sweat forming on his forehead. How transparent, I thought, but pretended not to notice and continued. Let's investigate each other then. We'll determine who should give the property based on that. But wait, is there a problem? I knew that Tom was cheating. Moreover, in the past few months, I had obtained evidence of his infidelity from a specialist. That's why I said so confidently. Let's get this settled then. I smirked and made Tom an offer. But doing all that would be troublesome, right? So since you brought up the divorce, you should give me your assets. Why should I? Because you brought it up first. You must have wanted the divorce more, right? I questioned, and Tom looked away, avoiding my gaze. One more push, I thought, and added a bit more. If you agree to give me some of your assets, I'll divorce without asking any questions. It's easier that way. That's, let's say, $15,000. I won't ask anything, and we can part cleanly. As I said this, Tom quietly nodded in agreement. Arguing further with me would only put him at a disadvantage. It seemed Tom had realized that. After that, Tom and I formally divorced. As promised, Tom shared some of his assets. I used it as funds to move to a new place. By the way, I had Karen help me with the move. It would have been impossible to do it alone. Anyway, living alone after such a long time was more comfortable than I thought. Plus, I'm expecting a baby soon. It's a bit of a setback, but life is going to be much better from now on. I murmured while gently rubbing my belly. Not long after the divorce was finalized, my older sister came to visit. Why is she here? Was the only thought that came to mind. Because the person Tom had cheated with was my own sister. This fact was confirmed when I hired a detective. I already have the evidence, and Tom should have known about it from our exchanges right before the divorce. I thought my sister must have known too. Why did this happen? I was baffled. While I was lost in thought, my sister began to speak. So I heard you broke up with Tom. So what? This has nothing to do with you. I tried to say it was none of her business, but then closed my mouth. She isn't unrelated. In fact, she is right in the middle of all this. It's not all her fault, but at least half of it is. Realizing this, I started to get angry. I had always thought of getting back at Tom, but upon reflection, should I also get back at my sister? As I pondered this, my sister spoke up in annoyance. Why are you ignoring me? I'm not ignoring you. It's because of this attitude that your man was taken away. My sister smirked. I see what this is about. She came to here to belittle me. Realizing her intention, I quickly retorted. That's not it. I was thinking I didn't want a man like that anyway. Really? Sounds like a sore loser to me. Not at all. If you're satisfied with my leftovers, then by all means, enjoy. My words made my sister frown. I thought to myself that it seemed to have hit a nerve. Unable to hold back, my sister brought up the main topic. Actually, I came here today to announce my marriage. Marriage? With whom? I asked, feigning ignorance. With that, my sister replied with a triumphant grin. It's Tom, sorry. Oh, really? Good for you. I replied in a flat tone. At that moment, my sister raised her voice. What's with that tone? Show some regret. Like I said earlier, I don't feel regretful. What? He was your husband, wasn't he? You must be upset. That's just her assumption. I've known for a long time that Tom was having an affair. And of course, I knew it was with my sister. It's true, I only confirmed it a few months ago after doing some research. But that's all there is to it. I don't necessarily feel regretful or resentful towards them. I only intend to reciprocate what was done to me. With that thought, I took a deep breath and said to my sister, Are you satisfied with my hand-me-downs? You! My sister bit her lip in frustration. Her expression was unexpectedly comical. If that's all you came for, you should leave. I'm not free. Huh? What's an unemployed loser like you saying? Don't think you can live off alimony forever. A smirk crossed my sister's face, as if she'd found a way to strike back. But she was far from the truth, because I've been working for months now. In fact, I started right after I found out I was pregnant. But it wouldn't be fun to spill that here. So feigning ignorance, I replied to my sister, You might want to worry more about yourself. What? Everyone knows about Tom and my marriage. If he remarries with my sister, I said coldly. Suddenly, my sister began to tremble. She apparently hadn't thought this through. Breaking up with a sister and remarrying her sibling would surely invite gossip. Even if no one says anything to their face, there would be whispers behind their back. I continued almost threateningly. Tom's company is doing well for now, but what if this story spreads? How would that look? That's... Hoping to leave off Tom's earning forever, you might want to rethink that sweet thought. After I said that, my sister retorted with, "Knowing," and left as if she was running away. I genuinely believed she wouldn't remarry after this. That's what I thought. But contrary to my expectations, the two got remarried. It happened about a month after Tom and I got divorced. Making the worst choices as usual. I was so stunned I couldn't speak. But now I had an excuse to cut ties with Tom and my sister. It all worked out in the end, didn't it? I mumbled, rubbing my belly. A few days later, I received a call during work. I answered, recognizing the voice immediately. Emily, where are you right now? Tell me. Tom? What's the matter all of a sudden? Just tell me where you are. Tom sounded so panicked, it was impossible to have a normal conversation. I titled my head, wondering, and told him the truth. I'm at home, but why? You're home? I'm coming over now. Wait. Why are you coming? When I asked him, Tom responded with a puzzled tone. Because I have urgent business. Huh? Urgent business? Isn't that your own matter? It'd be inconvenient for me if you come, you know. Having an ex-husband visit isn't necessarily a bad look. However, Tom has already remarried to my sister. Although we are now in-laws in the eyes of society, the situation could raise suspicions about our relationship. When I explained this, Tom sighed deeply. You're right, sorry, I was just panicking. So what's up? Right, I heard you started working. I wondered where he heard that from. It wasn't from my sister, and as I was thinking, Tom hastily questioned me further. How much do you earn? Do you have money? Thinking it would be a good opportunity, I shared my current situation as a form of retaliation. Right now, I work at a house cleaning company. However, I'm in a position of co-management. In fact, when I cleaned Karen's air conditioner, I had considered turning this into a job. After that, when I discovered Tom's infidelity, I discussed it with Karen. Karen recommended that we incorporate immediately, seeing the growing demand in the industry. But I lacked the confidence to do it alone. That's why I invited Karen to join. She immediately agreed, and now we run the company together. The business is going well, and with our executive salaries, our annual income is about $200,000. So that's the story. But it's none of Tom's business, right? Well, yes, but hold on. His response was oddly hesitant. Sensing something was amiss, I quickly operated the computer on my desk. I soon found a particular online article. I see, your company is in trouble. Huh? Why would you say that? It's on the online news. It says, your company is on the brink of bankruptcy. I read out the online article. It seems Tom's company's reputation has suddenly plummeted. Moreover, it seems their clients have already started to drift away. They couldn't expect any loans from banks, and it seemed the company was on the brink of bankruptcy. As soon as I conveyed this, Tom began to shout, "Stop it! That's not true." "What's not true? It's written right there." "I'm telling you, the real story is different." Here's what Tom had to say. On the night when my sister visited our place, Tom heard about me from her. "What? People think I dumped my sister-in-law to jump to my wife? Is that what they think?" Emily mentioned that. "If people really think that, what will you do?" Then, can't we just frame Emily as the bad guy to make things right? Saying this, Tom immediately began spreading false rumors about me to his friends and acquaintances. Rumors like I was cheating with multiple men or that I stole my sister's fiancé. All of these were, of course, outright lies. He must have thought that bad-mouthing me would divert attention from their wrongdoings. But things didn't go as simply as he thought. People started to question why anyone would marry someone like that. In the end, their lies were quickly exposed, and that's how they lost their credibility. "You brought this up on yourself." "I didn't mean for this to happen." "Hey, if you are earning that much, could you lend me some?" "Huh? Of course not." She rejected him outright. Then Tom tried to gain sympathy by tearing up. "But if the company goes bankrupt, our employees will be left with nothing." "That's not my problem. It's all your fault, Tom. If you're going to blame someone, blame yourself for cheating." Saying that, she hung up the phone. He destroyed himself even before I could get my revenge. I muttered to myself and then blocked his calls. In the end, Tom's company went bankrupt. He faced backlash from his employees and even got sued for damages by a few of them. Now, to cover his legal expenses, he's working at a cleaning company where he was able to get a job immediately. So, from being my husband, Tom became my brother-in-law and eventually a business competitor. It feels annoying how he keeps popping into my life. By the way, I safely gave birth to a baby girl. I'm currently handling administrative work for my company while taking care of her. You can take maternity leave if you want. I'll think about it. I told Karen that, but I have no intention of taking a break. That's because I enjoy working right now, and my newborn daughter gives me strength. It's essential for people to help each other. My daughter in my arms strongly reminds me of that. That's why I plan to keep going strong.
I bought a house to live with my parents and my sister. If you don't want to, we can get a divorce.
Are you sure? You might regret it.
Jay, right. LOL.
Tom shrugged while laughing. A month later, Tom experienced hell. My name is Emily, a 40-year-old office worker. I live with my husband, Tom, and our 8-year-old daughter. As husband and wife, we had a pretty good relationship. We would talk about well-being of our daughter. On weekends we would go out together, and we'll always have dinner together, talking and laughing. We both work, so our income is pretty stable and we don't have much to worry about regarding our future. We were living a happy life when one day something happened and changed everything.
Wait, what?
Suddenly, I received a call from the hospital while at work. They informed me that my mother had fell ill. I left work early and rushed to the hospital.
Mom.
Aunt Emily, you came.
My mother was lying in the hospital bed. She had fallen suddenly ill, but thanks to emergency treatment, her condition seemed to have stabilized.
You surprised me with the sudden news. Are you okay?
I'm sorry.
My 70-year-old mother lives alone in our family home. My father passed away a few years ago, so I was worried about her being alone. And now this happened. Moreover, it appears she will be hospitalized for a while.
Is it a serious illness?
No, I just need to get tested. I suddenly fainted, so they want to monitor me and slowly proceed with the examinations.
I see.
It's probably safer for her to be in the hospital than alone at home, as she can get immediate assistance if something happens. I returned home.
Is your mom okay?
For now, yes. But she'll be hospitalized for a while.
I see.
When I got home, my husband had prepared dinner and was waiting for me with my daughter. Tom had intended to leave work early to come to the hospital, but I had informed him that it wasn't necessary since my mother's condition was stable when I arrived. During dinner, I spilled what was on my mind.
I'm thinking of asking my mom to come live with us when she's out of the hospital. What do you think?
This wasn't a decision I could make alone. I needed to hear Tom's opinion on the matter. I was surprised to hear Tom agree with me without hesitation.
I'm totally fine with it. Being alone at an old age must be lonely, and I can see this incident made you worry more. Let's support your mother together.
Oh, Tom.
I was so happy to hear my husband say that. I felt fortunate to have a dependable husband like him during such times. Our daughter, hearing Tom's words, commented, "Daddy is so cool." I visited my mother in the hospital the next day and told her about our conversation.
Mom, would you like to live with us once you're discharged?
Huh?
You'd feel worried if something happened while you were alone at home, right? That's why we want to support you by living together.
No, I don't want to be a burden.
It's okay. We don't see it as a burden.
Even if you're okay with it, what about Tom?
I spoke with Tom yesterday, and he agreed.
Really?
He said we should support you as a family. So, Mom, you don't have to worry about anything.
Emily, thank you. I'm so happy.
Great.
I'm sorry, but I can't live with you.
What? Why?
I'm going to be hospitalized for a while.
What? What do you mean?
What on earth had happened?
Is your condition serious?
Yet, the tests were supposed to be pending. When I asked, my mother looked down.
Actually, I wanted to tell you a little later, Once I had prepared myself mentally, I have terminal cancer.
What?
The doctor said I might only have a year, or maybe even less left.
My mind went blank. The reality that was abruptly presented to me was too shocking to comprehend. My mother has terminal cancer? Only a short time left? I was stunned for a moment.
Emily,
I'm sorry, Mom. I was just taken aback. I never imagined you'd have cancer.
I'm sorry for not telling you sooner. I haven't come to terms with it myself, so I thought I wouldn't be able to talk about it yet.
No, it's okay. I understand you're going through rough time. But it's just...
I started to cry. The mere thought of losing my mother was unbearable.
Emily, thank you for suggesting to live together. Knowing that you and Tom care about me like this makes me very happy.
Mom.
My mother also began to cry. We both cried for a while, and we were finally able to calm ourselves down.
From now on, I'll visit you every day.
You don't have to push yourself.
No, I want to, and I will. If you need anything, please let me know.
Yes, thank you.
I went home that day and immediately told Tom about what happened.
What? Terminal cancer? I can't believe it. Your mother?
My husband was also shocked to hear about my mother's cancer. He was very concerned about me.
You don't need to overwork yourself with household chores while visiting her. I'll take care of as much as I can.
Thank you.
Because my husband said that, I was able to spend time with my mother almost up to the visiting hours every day after work. On my days off, my daughter and husband came with me for the visit, and my mother seemed very happy. I was very grateful that my husband created an environment where I could cherish the limited time left with my mother. I continued to visit her daily. However, day by day, my mother's condition got worse.
Mom, are you okay?
It's getting tougher, dear.
Oh no.
About the inheritance.
Please, don't say that. It will only upset you.
It's important, so let's discuss it.
Okay.
My mother, more serious than ever, started to talk, and I listened. I was shocked to hear about the inheritance she mentioned. Apparently, my mother had assets worth more than $1,300,000. My father had been involved in real estate investment, and after inheriting the properties, my mother continued to invest more heavily in real estate. As a result, she was earning more than what my father had earned.
I'm sorry for not telling you earlier. I want you to inherit the properties I own and continue investing in them.
I remember often being told by my parents to study investment. Although I didn't understand why, they told me it was good to have the knowledge, so I studied. And even gained experience in stock investments. I was glad I had learned and experienced investment. The amount astonished me though.
Remember this, it's very important. Do not casually disclose that you have these assets to people around you. I believe you'll be careful, but only share it with people you truly trust.
Okay, I understand.
The one person I can trust, who came to my mind was Tom. I believed there wouldn't be any issues in telling my kind and reliable partner. However, I didn't want to discuss the inheritance just yet. If I were to talk about it, I wanted it to be after my mother had passed away. About a month later, my mother passed away. I'm grateful I could be by her side till the very end, even taking time off from work. I was prepared for her passing, and we had plenty of conversations. After her passing, I, with my husband, arranged the funeral. Month later, I discussed about the inheritance to my husband.
About the inheritance from Mom. It's around $1,300,000.
What?
Tom looked shocked.
Eyes. Is that true?
Yes.
Seriously, $1,300,000.
Yes, but don't tell anyone else. I'm only telling you this because I trust you.
Of course, I won't tell anyone. I promise.
Thanks.
My heart felt light after telling Tom. Suddenly inheriting such a large amount was overwhelming. So I felt better discussing with my partner about our next steps. However, from that point on, my husband's behavior began to change.
Hey, where did you get that watch?
Oh, I bought it because I thought the design was cool.
I see. It's nice. How much was it?
I think it was around $2,000.
What, $2,000? Why did you buy something so expensive?
It's not really that expensive.
Considering our income, it is.
We have $1,300,000, so it's not a problem, right? LOL.
What?
I was taken aback by my husband's words. He clearly regarded the $1,300,000 I inherited as if it was his.
I've been thinking of saving that money for our daughter's education and our retirement. It's not for buying stuff like this.
As I said that, my husband looked displeased.
What? You won't even let me buy things I want? Do you realize how much I've supported you? Who do you think took care of the household chores while you visited the hospital?
That's...
My husband continued in a domineering manner. From that day on, I would occasionally see him buy luxury brand stuff. He also repeatedly made remarks about quitting his job, wanting to move to a better house, and relying on my income.
You've been acting strange lately. Let's forget about the inheritance for a moment and go back to our normal lives.
There's no way we can do that. It's a waste not to buy what I want when I can.
To be honest, I never expected things to turn out this way. My husband changed because of money. He would occasionally talk about how to make use of the inherited money. He would suggest buying luxury cars or moving to a high-rise apartment, which seemed very nouveau riche. It made me confused.
I've already said that we're not using the money that way. Stop talking about the inheritance.
As I became emotional and shouted, my husband widened his eyes in anger.
Are you kidding me? Do you have any idea how much I've supported you? At least I would have the right to use half of the money. You're planning to use all $1,300,000 by yourself, aren't you? That's why you keep rejecting all my proposals.
What are you talking about? I just want to use it more prudently and carefully.
No, I don't believe you. You're probably planning to spend it behind my back. I will absolutely not allow that.
My husband said, his face turning bright red. Why did he change so much? From then on, we stopped talking to each other for days. Amidst this, my husband took an unthinkable action.
I bought a house to live with my parents and my sister.
What did you just say?
I said, I've purchased a new house. It's a good house where all three families can live. Isn't this a good way to spend the $1,300,000?
Wait a minute, you used my money?
Yes.
Why are you making decisions without me?
Unbelievable. I never imagined he'd buy a house without telling me.
If you don't like it, we can get a divorce. You'll end up penniless and live a lonely and poor life. Haha.
My husband smirked. At that moment, a question arose in my mind. Is it even possible to use such a large amount of money without the consent of the owner? Probably not. I believed no matter what, the situation wouldn't turn against me.
Okay, but you'll regret it.
Like I would, haha.
Tom said, shrugging and laughing. But a month later, he would experience hell. First, I asked my husband which construction company he signed with. It turned out it was a construction company run by my father-in-law's friend.
So you decided to live in the new house with me, haha. Good idea. Don't go against me because of this, okay?
Tom seems to be misunderstanding something, but I'll leave it be for now. I immediately went to the construction company. When I spoke to the person in charge, he showed me a document that was apparently authorized by me. Tom and my in-laws claimed they had my proxy, but I never signed it.
I didn't even know about the house purchase, so this authorization is invalid. If you get her handwriting examination, I can prove it.
The salesperson was shocked to hear about this.
I sincerely apologize for the inconvenience. Even though we heard the story from your father-in-law, it was reckless of us to proceed so quickly. We'll cancel it immediately.
I asked to keep this a secret to my in-laws and my husband that his has been canceled. When I expressed my desire to teach them a lesson, the people at the construction company agreed. After that, I signed a lease for a new apartment and presented my husband with divorce papers.
I realized I can't continue our marriage. Let's get a divorce.
When I said that, Tom looked shocked but then scoffed.
Are you sure about that, haha? You'll miss out on living in a $1,300,000 house, you know, haha.
Yes, I don't mind.
Because you don't own a $1,300,000 house.
I'll take custody of our daughter, and we won't divide our assets. Is that okay?
Hearing this, Tom looked smug and agreed.
Fine, I don't care. After all, I have a new home.
I'm glad I asked the construction company to keep it a secret. The divorce from Tom went smoother than I expected. I then signed the divorce papers, had Tom fill them out too, and left the house with my daughter. My daughter liked Tom, but recently she would say that he got scarier. So, she seemed relieved to be living apart. The apartment we moved into is clean with good security, and the rent isn't even that high. Even if I inherit a large sum of money, I have no intention of changing my standard of living. I wanted to lead a normal life and have my daughter live in a normal household. About a month after moving into the new place, I received an angry call from my ex-husband.
Hello.
Hey, what the hell is going on? Why is the house construction canceled?
Oh, just noticed that now, did you? Haha.
When I explained the situation, my ex-husband was furious.
You must be joking. This can't be happening. It's my house.
What are you talking about? You proceeded with everything using my name because I have assets. From that point on, it became my house. And the proxy was forged. So the whole deal is off.
Don't mess with me. My parents have already left their old home and are living in our apartment. They said they didn't mind for a while, since they'll get to live in a bigger place later.
Why should I care? It's all your fault.
What? Please, Emily, can we pretend the divorce never happened?
That's impossible. I don't want to see you anymore. Make note that this is the last time talking to you. If I ever see you, I'll call the police. Oh, and by the way, I could sue you for unilaterally buying the house, you know, but I won't, so please never get involved with me or our daughter again.
Why?
Tom seemed deeply shocked, but he agreed, presumably not wanting to face a lawsuit. Later, I heard that my former in-laws, perhaps counting on my money, had racked up significant debt by recklessly buying luxury brands and making poor stock market investments. I was dumbfounded when I heard this. However, it's no longer my concern. I have a peaceful life with my daughter. I plan to let her pursue whatever she wishes as she grows. I intend to use the inheritance I received for that purpose, and I also plan to continue my investments to further increase my assets.
You dare to record this, you coward. Is it about money? Do you care about money that much? Such petty cash? I'll give it back to you right now.
The mother-in-law pushed her husband away, took out $1,700 from the dresser, and threw it at me.
Really? Just let me use this petty cash freely. I can't even go to pachinko because you're working from home. Shouldn't a working adult work outside?
Overwhelmed by her force, it was the sister-in-law who subdued the mother-in-law in my stead.
I'm so sorry for doubting you. I will take full responsibility for this.
I am Emily. I met my husband Tom during college. I still vividly remember him approaching me, saying he fell in love at first sight. I was actually in love with him at first sight too, but I've kept that a secret because I'm shy. I am strongly attracted to his straightforwardness in expressing his feelings. For me, who tends to hold back based on the atmosphere, he was perfect in every way. So when he proposed to me after we started working, I was truly happy. I eagerly said yes, and that has led us to where we are now. Life with my husband has been harmonious, but there's one thing that bothers me. It's about my mother-in-law. I heard that my husband hardly visited his family home after his father passed away. Therefore, I only saw my mother-in-law a few times a year. However, she got injured a week ago, which led to us living together for a limited time.
Emily, I'm sorry for the inconvenience.
At first, I thought she was a gentle person, but issues arose shortly after we started living together.
Emily, I have something to tell you.
That day, when I returned home, the mother-in-law looked solemn.
What happened?
Well,
She told me that she had a debt. Moreover, she had been scammed.
You should probably discuss this with Tom.
no way.
Why not?
Actually,
According to the mother-in-law, she had been scammed in the past and was severely scolded by both her husband and son.
Can I ask what the scam was about?
I received a phone call from someone claiming to be my son. He said he hit a car with his bicycle and was being charged money.
Isn't that?
Yes, the It's Me scam. But at that time, I was desperate and didn't want to cause any trouble for my husband. I thought it would be better to settle it quietly with money.
I see. But how old was Tom when this happened?
He was in high school.
Can one really mistake the voice of their son whom they see every day?
I was just so flustered at that time. I was not just worried about Tom but also thought about the impact on my husband's job. I was restless and couldn't stay put. And regarding this recent incident, I just can't tell Tom because I don't want to burden him.
The scam this time. Did they use Tom's name again?
Well, not exactly as Tom, but they said he was having an affair and demanded compensation money. I couldn't even tell you about it.
Tom having an affair? That's unlikely. Why can I say that with certainty? Although I don't have concrete evidence, I trust him. He wouldn't do such a thing. He won't cheat. If he ever falls for someone other than me, it would be only if he's truly serious. And he would definitely be open and tell me about it.
So, you mean to say that you borrowed money to pay that?
Yes, that's right. But I'm not working and could only manage to borrow $3,000.
I felt a chill run down my spine at that moment.
Mom, where did you borrow that money? I'm sorry to be direct, but I can't believe a bank would lend money to someone unemployed like you.
That's right.
Is it from loan sharks? That's a bigger issue than the scam itself. You should inform Tom about this right away.
Why am I so panicked? It's because my husband is a police officer. If it's discovered that a family member has dealt with loan sharks, Tom's chances of promotion will be gone. All the hard work that my husband put in up to now would go down the drain.
It's okay, don't worry. I'm not that foolish. I borrowed from a friend, so it's fine.
Oh, I see.
The mother-in-law may have been scammed, but it seems she thought carefully about where she borrowed the money.
So, Mom, the reason you told me this is,
I'm truly sorry. Could you possibly lend me the money? You see, I'll be getting my pension in 2 months, so I'll pay you back properly from that. Please, I'll pay it back, so please keep it a secret from Tom. I'm begging you.
Seeing the mother-in-law shaking slightly, I couldn't refuse. Honestly, I thought it was foolish. However, her husband was also a police officer, and this was probably the result of her trying her best to think things through. I would never fall for it, but there are countless people in the world who, like the mother-in-law, have fallen victim to scams. They must be honest people who prioritize helping others. And the mother-in-law is probably one of those kind-hearted people as well.
understood. Let's pay it back in full then. I won't tell Tom about this, but please be more careful in the future, mother-in-law. If you get such calls again, please contact me right away.
Emily, thank you so much. But you know, repaying $1,500 this time is enough.
What?
Well, if I pay back the full amount suddenly, it'll seem like I had the money all along, right? She's someone I'll be associated with in the future, so I want to handle that aspect smoothly.
I see.
So, Emily, could you give me $1,500 this time?
Understood.
Even though I said I understood, I didn't really grasp what the mother-in-law meant. Well, if this eliminates the mother-in-law's debt, there shouldn't be any problem. At that time, out of consideration for the mother-in-law's feelings, I didn't tell my husband, thinking the issue was resolved. After some time since our private discussion, my company started recommending remote work, and I became a full-time remote worker. However, this change in daily life revealed the mother-in-law's true nature.
Emily, are you off work today?
No, I've started working from home as of today.
Oh, I see.
I hate being this sensitive to people's expressions at times like this.
Oh, don't worry, Mom. I'll be working in my room, and I'll prepare my own lunch. Please go about your day as you normally would.
Okay, thank you.
I tried my best to be considerate, but the mother-in-law still looked troubled. Well, if a daughter-in-law is at home all day when she's used to being alone, it's bound to be uncomfortable. However, I'm always busy, and during the day, I don't leave my room except for meals and bathroom breaks. So I thought the mother-in-law would get used to this situation over time. After all, this is just a temporary situation until the mother-in-law's foot heals. Then, when my lunch break came, I headed downstairs to go to the convenience store.
Mom, I'm going to the convenience store. Do you want anything? Oh, long time no see.
When I opened the living room door, the sister-in-law was there.
I'm heading to the convenience store. Do you want me to get anything for you?
No, I'm good.
I see. Mom, is there anything you'd like?
Could you get me a hot coffee?
Understood.
I met my sister-in-law for the first time in several months. On my way to the convenience store, I idly thought that it's so lovely how close she is with her mother, coming to see her because she's worried about her injury. However, since then, the sister-in-law has been visiting almost every day. If she can check on her mother every day, isn't there no need for us to live together? Even temporarily. Even though she injured her foot, the mother-in-law can manage on her own. Is there even a point in us living together?
Hey, about your sister.
That day, I told my husband about her.
What? She's been coming here every day.
Yes, she has.
then there's no point in us moving in, right?
You think so too?
I do. Mom seems to be doing pretty well, all things considered.
That's what I thought. And ever since I started working remotely, it seems like she's never really at ease. Oh, it's not like she's done anything bad or anything. But this is her house, and I feel bad making her feel uneasy. So I've been going to the convenience store every lunchtime as a small gesture. And when I go, I always ask if she or anyone else wants anything.
Wait, are you getting paid for it?
What? No, I'm not.
You should charge her. We keep separate finances, after all.
But
I couldn't continue. The mother-in-law is repaying a debt. I can't take money from her in such a situation. As I fell silent, my husband went to the mother-in-law's room.
Mom,
What? You scared me.
stop taking advantage of Emily.
What are you talking about?
I shook my head vigorously at my mother-in-law from behind my husband.
If you're asking for groceries, please pay properly.
well, I go to the convenience store on my own initiative.
Emily, it's not good to let things like this slide. Let's set clear boundaries on these matters. You understand too, right, Mom?
I get it.
By the way, I heard she's been coming here every day.
Oh, no, it seems like I snitched to my husband. I love my husband's straightforward nature, but I wish he'd consider how I feel. Seeing her every day.
If she can come here every day, then there's no point in us living here, right?
She just pops by for a bit and then leaves immediately.
That's not true. I can hear their laughter through the walls all the way in my room.
Anyway, if she's around, we need to discuss things. Let's talk about our future plans this weekend.
The next day, I found myself under fire from both my mother-in-law and sister-in-law. During my lunch break, my sister-in-law approached me.
I need to talk to you.
Yes,
You buy lunch at the convenience store every day, right?
yes, I do.
That's just not acceptable.
Stop it right now.
Since Mom can't say it, I will. That money belongs to Mom, right? Taking money from her is like bullying your mother-in-law. You're such a terrible daughter-in-law.
Excuse me?
I was showered with words I couldn't have imagined. This money belongs to my mother-in-law. Bullying my mother-in-law. What on earth is she talking about?
All the money spent on me is paid for with the money I've earned.
What are you talking about? Aren't you always shut up in your room, being at NEET?
What? That's not true at all. What kind of nonsense are you coming up with now? I work full-time. My job is something I can do with just a laptop, so I've become a remote worker.
Huh?
Wait a moment.
I went upstairs to get my laptop, came back down, and showed her the screen.
This system is used to confirm attendance, and as you can see,
It says I'm currently away from the desk.
I am genuinely working.
My sister-in-law stared intently at the laptop screen.
Mom? What's going on?
No, that's what I want to know.
Enough is enough. How dare you lie to this extent? Don't involve my daughter in this.
Huh.
I'm going to say it clearly today. I've had it with you. If you're a NEET, get out of this house right now. I'll consider the money I lent you as tuition. You probably won't be able to repay it anyway.
Huh? I'm the one who lent the money.
Wait, what's going on? Didn't you get scammed?
Ah, I see now.
At this moment, I realized I was deceived by my mother-in-law.
I understand. I'll leave. I've learned a lot from this experience. I'll be moving out over the weekend, so I'll need to stay for about 3 more days. I'll be secluded and working the entire time, so we won't cross paths. Now, my lunch break is over, so I'll excuse myself.
After this, I lived without seeing my mother-in-law until I moved out. Or rather, it must have been awkward for her. She avoided me too. I only told my husband that we'd be moving. He was concerned about the reason, but he accepted it when I said I'd explain everything once it was all over. On the day of the move, my mother-in-law stayed locked in her room and didn't come out. In the midst of this, we quietly proceeded with the moving preparations. After we finished loading our things, just when we were about to head back to our own home, the sister-in-law appeared.
I've been worried about this. Did I end up being rude to you?
Were you involved in this? Can I also hear the reason now?
Well, it's fine now, since we've finished loading our things. I was silent because I feared retaliation, but there's no problem talking about it now. I told the two of them the truth plainly.
You're kidding, right? I heard the exact same story from Mom. But the victim was you, Emily.
I figured. I heard that Mom was scammed twice. But Tom asked me to keep it a secret, and I felt sympathetic to Mom, which I now realize wasn't right.
How much money did you give her?
$1,500. I was planning to give her another $1,500 next month.
Could it be?
The sister-in-law quickly headed to the mother-in-law's room and opened the sliding door.
Mom, are you still gambling on pachinko?
What are you talking about all of a sudden? I'm not.
Then what about the money you borrowed from Emily? You were helping her out because she got scammed, right?
Did I say something like that? I've been very forgetful lately. I don't remember a lot of things. I wonder if I should see a doctor.
Tom and the sister-in-law were giving their mother cold looks.
Mom, you borrowed money from me, remember?
Did I? I don't recall. Maybe I am sick after all. Look, I saw it on TV the other day. It's called multiple personality disorder.
I see. Well, maybe this will jog your memory.
I took out my smartphone.
What's that?
This has our conversation recorded on it from that time. $1,500 is a lot of money for me, so I recorded our conversation just to be safe. To help you remember, I'll play it now.
Before I could finish speaking, the mother-in-law leaped dramatically towards my smartphone. Her appearance was no longer human. She looked like a sharp-eyed monster. But before she could reach my phone, Tom restrained her. It's to be expected from a police officer. His reflexes were quick.
Recording me, you sneaky. Money. Is money that important to you? Such a trivial amount. I'll pay it back right now.
As she shook off Tom, the mother-in-law pulled $1,500 from a chest and threw it at me.
Come on, let me spend such a small amount freely. I can't even go to the pachinko because you've been working from home. Shouldn't working adults be outside?
In my astonishment, it was the sister-in-law who pinned down the mother-in-law in my stead.
Emily, I'm truly sorry for doubting you. I'll make sure to settle this properly.
Wah, huh?
Before I could respond, the sister-in-law took action.
Hey, old hag. Who told you to scatter the money you borrowed?
What happened to the reserved sister-in-law I knew? I couldn't hide my surprise and looked at Tom.
After Dad passed away, she's been the boss in this house.
Wait, what does that even mean?
Pick up every bill and hand it over properly. Idiot.
Under the sister-in-law's pressure, the mother-in-law, trembling, picked up the scattered bills.
Count to make sure all 15 bills are there.
Yes, they are all here.
The sister-in-law roughly took the money from the mother-in-law.
Big sis, I made sure to collect everything.
Big sis.
I deeply apologize for this incident. I'll ensure this doesn't happen again by properly disciplining her.
In the end, Tom and I haven't seen the mother-in-law since then. From time to time, I receive updates about the mother-in-law from the sister-in-law. She told us that thanks to the sister-in-law's strict discipline, the mother-in-law started working part-time. The sister-in-law's family moved into that house and is still keeping an eye on everything there.
Was your sister, a former leader of some girl gang?
When our lives settled down, I posed the question to Tom.
Nope, she wasn't.
I see. She called me Big Sis, so I thought maybe she was.
That's just her way of showing that she likes you.
I see. I'm glad that my misunderstanding about your sister got cleared up.
She just doesn't like dishonesty. She actually wanted to become a police officer like Dad and me. But she had an eye injury from an accident when she was little. That's why she couldn't become a cop.
I see.
But now she might have found her calling in rehabilitating people, don't you think? Speaking of which, reflect on your actions this time.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Keeping secrets between spouses is not good. If you had talked to me properly about this, it wouldn't have come to this.
Yes, I'm sorry.
But still, you are smart, Emily. You did record the conversation, right?
About that, I didn't. So, if your mother denied everything, I wouldn't have been able to do anything.
Well, that was a big gamble.
Yay.
It was good this time since the mother-in-law got caught in the act. No more secrets between us as a couple. I vowed to consult Tom on everything from now on.